Hi kids, welcome back to Bailey's Bookshelf, and today I'll be reading Chapter 2 of A Ranger in Time, Escape from the Twin Towers. Chapter 2, Playground Practice. Come on up, Ranger, Sadie called from the top of the slide at the park. You can do it! Ranger jumped onto the slide. He climbed slowly up to meet Sadie, spreading his toes so his paws wouldn't slip. When he made it to the top, Sadie gave him a hug. Good job, she said. Then they slid down together. Walking up steep slopes was something Ranger had learned in his special training with Luke and Dad. Ranger had been practicing to be a search and rescue dog, so he could find missing people and rescue those who needed help. Ranger had practiced following Luke's scent to find him when he was hiding in the woods. He had practiced walking over all kinds of surfaces, including slippery slides like this one. But when it came time to take his test to be an official search and rescue dog, Ranger had it passed. It was all because of the squirrel. In order to be a search and rescue dog, you had to ignore everything except the commands. You had to ignore juicy hot dog pieces and squeaky toys on the lawn. You also had to ignore squirrels, even squirrels with big, swishy tails. Even if they ran right past while you were taking your test. That's what happened to Ranger on the day of his test. He chased the squirrel up a tree instead of ignoring it. Ranger knew that Luke wasn't really missing or in trouble on the day of the test. If a real person had needed help, Ranger would have helped. But Luke was just pretending, so Ranger chased the squirrel instead. You sure are good at obstacles like the slide, Ranger, Luke said, scratching Ranger's neck. Too bad you didn't pass your test, but you're still the best dog in the world. He turned to Sadie. We should go home. Dad's making chili. Ranger walked home alongside Luke and Sadie. When they went into the kitchen to wash up for dinner, he got a drink of water from his dish in the mudroom. Just as he was finishing, he heard a humming sound coming from his dog bed. Ranger walked over to his bed. He pawed at his blanket until he uncovered the old first aid kit he dug up from Mom's garden one day. The humming was coming from an old metal box with a leather strap, and it was getting louder. Ranger knew what that sound meant. The first aid kit only hummed when someone far away needed his help. Twice, the old metal box had taken Ranger into war zones where young men were struggling to survive. Once it had taken him to help two girls trapped in a trembling city full of smoke and fire. Once it had taken him to a flooded neighborhood where people had to climb onto their roofs to keep from drowning. And now, the box was humming again. Ranger nuzzled the first aid kit strap over his head. The humming got louder and louder. The first aid kit grew warm at Ranger's throat. Light began to spill from the cracks. It glowed brighter and brighter. Soon it was so bright, Ranger had to close his eyes. He felt as if he was being squeezed through a hole in the sky. The humming stopped. Then roar filled Ranger's ears. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in a room with a long table and big cushy chairs. Next to the table was a tall window. Ranger looked out just in time to see huge jet-tipped wings. It was enormous and close. Too close. Ranger barked and a thundering crash shook the room as the plane slammed into the building above him. Thanks kids for watching, and I'll see you guys back with Chapter 3. Bye!